Welcome into America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates. Securities offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Advisory services offered through the Retirement Guys Formula, registered investment advisor. America's Retirement Headquarters, America's Medicare Associates, and the Retirement Guys Formula are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. We appreciate you joining us today here on America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula, America's Medicare Associates, and Retirement Tax Partners with Nolan Baker. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. It's 419-794-3030. You can find them online, find out more about the team, set up a time to speak with them as well on the website, arhq.com. My name is Chris Swan. Today on the show, find out why some are calling this the Rocky Balboa stock market. Why are some grandparents skipping over their kids and giving their money to their grandkids? And we'll talk about the milestone ages in retirement, all this and more. But before we dive into it, let me check in with Nolan Baker. Nolan, glad to be with you once again. How you doing, sir?
Doing wonderful. Excited that we got through Carter's graduation. So it was wonderful having so many people come out to the graduation party that we had for him last weekend. Also, I want to give a special thanks to Andrew Z. He does the morning show, but also he owns a food truck. So we had Andrew Z come out and prepare and feed some great food that he had cooked that day. Excellent time. So now it's just on to kind of enjoying summer. We got to that taken care of. I guess we do have his Eagle Scout ceremony coming up in July, but the hard part of the graduation party is done.
Just like the hard part of retiring is making sure that you're well equipped to start this next great chapter. But there is some planning that goes into it, of course. In the graduation, there's some things. Obviously, he had to keep his grades up and things like that. But to help you get to graduation or to get to retirement, not just to, but through and beyond, you have to have a plan in place. And that's where the team at America's Retirement Headquarters comes into play. Once again, arhq.com. Nolan, appreciate you spending time with the listeners here. A lot of people are worried about the future of Social Security, and as a result, they're putting their money where their mouths are. Or are they? So far this fiscal year, 276,000 more people have filed for benefits, which is a 13% increase over last year. And many of them are taking them at the earliest possible age of 62 due to the fear of the program's solvency, the fact that it might not be around for long. So with that in mind, Nolan, what are they missing out on, and how could they actually maximize their benefits?
If you're thinking about taking Social Security, it is crucial to not leave thousands of dollars on the table. And the mistake of when to claim benefits can be a costly mistake, especially if you're in a situation where you're married. In fact, in this segment, I'm going to walk you through the difference is about 124% of somebody claiming benefits early on versus somebody delaying benefits until the age 70. And when we look at the numbers that just came out, you have roughly 13% increase of people claiming benefits early than the previous year. 276,000 more people claim Social Security. When I talk to people about Social Security, it's oftentimes I hear their concern is about the solvency, right? We've been talking about this for a while. You hear it on the news. Social Security is going broke, and it seems like every time they report that number, it's going to be a little bit quicker. There are, I think, then a lot of people will end up deciding to select Social Security benefits, feeling that they better get what they can before the program goes insolvent. I think that could be a big mistake, and it could be a costly mistake that you could make in the future as well. The second thing that I hear oftentimes people say is that, I've run kind of a break-even analysis, and I've looked at my family situation, and, nobody in my family lived past, say, mid-70s, and if I had to live to my mid-70s to break even, I better just get what I can, while I can. And what we want to do is we want to walk you through 4 strategies that can kind of help you maximize what your benefits are. The first one there is delaying what your Social Security credits are. If you claim benefits at the age of 62 versus your full retirement age, and in today's example, we're going to assume full retirement age is 67, there's going to be a 30% reduction in your benefits. And if you delay benefits past your full retirement age, not only are you getting that cost of living increase to have your benefits grow, every year that you delay past your full retirement age, what you're able to do is get an 8% automatic increase. And so the difference of benefits between somebody drawing at the age 70 versus somebody drawing at the age 62 is 124%. So let's look at an example of that. If you have an individual, and again, let's assume the individual's full retirement age is 67, and they would have a monthly benefit of $2,500 a month. That's $30,000 a year of annual income that they would get from Social Security. If that individual went ahead and they claimed benefits at the age of 62, their benefit would be reduced from $2,500 down to $1,750. So $21,000 a year annual income is what they would get. Although if they delayed benefits past their full retirement age and they delayed benefits till the age 70, their monthly benefit goes from $2,500 up to $3,100 a month. So again, the difference is $37,320 a year annual income at age 70 versus $21,000 a year income at age 62. And then when you look at life expectancy, let's just say age 90. And again, we can look at different scenarios. I've got another video on our YouTube channel that talks about my scenario and using an example, let's say if I passed away early. But in this example, let's say that the life expectancy is age 90. During the 29 years, the 62-year-old collected benefits, just using that number, it's $609,000. And then at age 70, even though they delayed benefits 8 years longer because of the payment amount was so much more, that's $744,000. So that scenario, it can make a big difference, over $185,000 of lifetime income by selecting the right benefit of when to draw benefits. Again, you can look at your scenario and you can look at different options and take a look at, kind of how that would impact what your benefits are. The second area to look at and consider is if you're in a married situation. Sometimes I work and you might be individual, maybe you're not married. In individual situations, taking Social Security doesn't get as complicated as it is when you're talking about a married couple, because, with a married couple, you have to take into consideration what are the spousal benefits. Meaning, is the spouse going to claim benefits off of the higher income earner? I'm a great example of that, right? So I have been the primary worker for all of the years that our children have been born. My wife has done a fantastic job raising our family, and she helps out with running a lot of the books and records here at the business. But the primary income earner has been me all of these years. It would most likely be a scenario that my wife is probably going to draw half of my benefits at retirement time. So the decision that I make on when I draw my benefits will impact, how and when she's going to be able to get benefits as well, using that spousal benefit. The strategy that you have there is you could typically have the higher income earner. They could delay taking benefits till later in life, again, full retirement age, or optimally maybe waiting until age 70. And then the lower income earner, in this case would be my wife, she could start claiming benefits earlier on. The other advantage of considering in a spousal situation of when to take benefits and not taking it until at least full retirement age or delaying till age 70 is because of the impact that it can have on survivor benefits. Let me give you another example here of John and Mary. John's the higher income earner. He's full retirement Social Security benefit would be $3,000 a month, assuming at the age of 67. Mary has a lower Social Security benefit of $1,500 a month at her full retirement age. They're both 62 and, like maybe you, considering, when should they claim benefits. Here's what it would look like if they decided to claim benefits early. So John's benefit of $3,000 would be reduced by that 30%. He would get $2,100 a month by taking benefits at the age of 62. Mary's benefit of $1,500 at full retirement would also be reduced by 30%. So she would get $1,050 a month. You combine those two incomes together, it's $3,150 a month of income that they would have, a total household income from Social Security. And then if John passes away, Mary's only going to get one of the two. She would get the higher, which is $2,100 as a survivor benefit. So again, in the situation of maybe John thinking, hey, I maybe don't have the best health. Nobody in my family lived a long time. I better just claim benefits now. By him claiming benefits early and Mary doing that as well, what you can see is that it also locked her into a lower survivor benefit. So if the second scenario is looking at a coordinated plan, having an optimized approach and picking an approach that might be what, is best for their individual situation, Mary could go ahead and claim Social Security at the age 62. Again, she's going to get a reduced benefit. It's $1,050 a month, going to provide that household that immediate income now. And then John delays his benefit until age 70. $3,000 would grow 8% a year, so that's a 24% increase. So now his $3,000 a month benefit is $3,720 a month. Their total household benefit at the age 70 is $4,770 a month. And again, if you added in cost of living increases in that would make that number even bigger as well. And now if John passes away, his wife is going to be protected with a much larger survivor benefit in versus drawing benefits early. So that lifetime impact, let's say John lives to age 85, Mary lives to age 90. The uncoordinated strategy, if you add it up over the course of that lifetime, is about $945,000. Using the optimized approach ends up being about $1,130,100. So that's a difference of, over $185,000 in lifetime income by not just rushing into a quick decision of when to draw Social Security or assuming that, Social Security is going to go broke, so you're going to claim strategies early. The third benefit of optimizing the Social Security strategies for you is to manage where it is in your tax bracket. And that is a great strategy to try to maximize what your benefits are. A lot of people are not aware of the fact that your Social Security benefits could end up being taxable in retirement time. And, if you're a younger viewer watching this, it's important to think about some of these things on how to save for the future and what is considered countable income and what's not countable income when you're thinking about Social Security and taxation. So our goal here is to try to keep the government away from your money. And if your provisional income exceeds certain thresholds, up to 85% of your Social Security could be taxable. And for a single individual, the first part of taxation kicks in at $25,000. The second bracket of taxation kicks in when your single income is over $34,000. For a married couple, the first bracket of taxation kicks in at $32,000, and then the second bracket of taxation of that 85% taxable benefit is at $44,000. So when you're looking at it and you're looking at trying to reduce the taxable money, if you're a younger listener and you're a younger watcher to the show, then what you'd want to do is you'd want to consider trying to maximize contributions to your Roth 401k or contributing to a Roth IRA. So one of the things that's not calculated in the formula to determine your taxation of your Social Security benefits is, taking qualified withdrawals from a tax-free account like a Roth IRA, could be taking withdrawals from like cash value life insurance or your Roth 401k. Those of you that are maybe 60, thinking about retirement within 5 years, or maybe you're just recently retired, one of the things that you may want to consider in delaying your Social Security benefits is it would give you the ability to work with your CPA or accountant and do Roth conversions analysis. So if you did Roth conversions before you claimed Social Security, and then you met the definitions of the ability to take withdrawals from those Roth IRAs, then again, those Roth IRAs would not calculate in there. If you're somebody listening to the show and you're over the age 70 and a half, and you are donating money to charity or causes that are important to you, you'd want to find out about the ability to do, qualified charitable donations directly from your IRA. And what that's going to do is that's going to help reduce the reportable income that you have in your taxable income, which could also bring down the Social Security taxes that you have as well. And the fourth item that we want to help you to maximize your benefits is to avoid the earnings test, especially if you claim benefits and continue to work. I had met a gentleman that wanted to go ahead and start taking Social Security early at this age of 62. He was going to take that extra money and he was going to use it to pay down and pay off some of his debts before he retired at 65 or 66. Conceptually sounds like a great idea. I do believe in paying off your debts, and the more you can be debt-free at retirement time, the better off you're going to be cash flow wise. What he didn't realize is that if you claim Social Security and continue to work before your full retirement age, you're going to be subject to an earnings test. And when we look at the earnings test, what they're going to do is if you're before full retirement age, the years before, so again, in this example, age 62, the limit that you have is just a little bit over $22,000 a year. And if you have income that is higher than that amount, what Social Security is going to end up doing is they're going to deduct a $1 for every $2 that you have earned over and above that limit. And if you don't know about it, what happens is when you go to file your taxes, you may end up getting shocked with a big tax bill that you didn't even realize you're going to have because of that Social Security earnings test that you go through. Then in the year that you reach full retirement age, again, in most cases, age 66 or 67, your limit is $59,520 a year is what the income limit is there. And again, you do get a reduction in benefits if your income gets higher than that limit as well. After you reach your full retirement age, the good news is there's no longer an earnings test, so you can work as much as you want without taking a reduction in your benefits as well. You'd also want to keep in mind that the reduction is not a permanent loss. What happens is once you reach your full retirement age, Social Security is going to run a recalculation of your benefits. They're going to increase your monthly payment to credit you for the months when your benefits were withheld during that earnings test. So there's 4 good strategies on how to optimize your Social Security and a couple of easy steps to do. The takeaway there is don't just make a knee-jerk decision on when to collect Social Security. Don't take Social Security right away at retirement time unless you have run a Social Security optimization report based upon your individual situation using your actual Social Security numbers. And that's exactly what we do all the time here at America's Retirement Headquarters for our clients to help them make the most informed decision on when to draw Social Security.
There's a multitude of ways, as you've no doubt heard and realized, to claim Social Security, and there's no one solid right or wrong answer. Perhaps claiming it just for the sake of claiming it out of fear could be catastrophic, could be seeing a significant reduction. Having that Social Security optimization report run is something, as Nolan mentioned, the team at America's Retirement Headquarters can do for you to figure out the right strategy for you and your spouse to get that started. Go to the website, arhq.com, set up a time to speak with them there, or give a call right now, 419-794-3030. We're a little less than a month away from Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, July 15th, the symbolic mid-year point of the season, and with the trade deadline looming right after that, the end of July. Now is the time when front offices make decisions to improve, stay pat, or sell off their rosters. Nolan, is mid-year also a good time to review your retirement plan, and what's involved with something like that?
Well, you think your retirement plan maybe only needs an annual checkup, but just like when I go to the dentist's office, I think it's a great idea to get a checkup every 6 months. It's kind of hard to believe that here we are middle of the year and how fast kind of time goes by. But I would say that thinking that your plan only needs reviewed once a year, I would say think again. Mid-year is a great time to kind of look at some powerful ways to update your financial strategies, make sure that everything's still on track, making some smart moves before the end of the year gets here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through a practical mid-year checkup to help you avoid some of the surprises, think about, what you can do with your tax planning strategies, how to fine tune your investments and protect yourself and your future. If you really want to stay on track, this segment is kind of one that we're going to dive deep into that topic and walk you through some actionable items on what you can do to get your mid-year portfolio review done. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to review your portfolio and your investments. Periodically reviewing the portfolio and doing what is called a rebalancing about every 6 months is a great way to keep your portfolio in line with what your intended asset allocation mix-up is. And when I talk about asset allocation, what I'm talking about is your desired outcome of investments between stocks and, say, fixed income. Your portfolio, let's say that your goal is to be 60% stocks and 40% bonds. And, maybe time has gotten away from you in the last couple of months, or heck, even in the last couple of years. What we've had this year, we had last year, we had the previous year, the equity markets, performed extremely well. And because of that, what happens is your equity exposure might now be 75% of your total plan, and your fixed income is now, 25 or 30%. But your desired outcome of the 60-40 is one of the reasons why to do the rebalance. And so if you do that about every 6 months, that'll help you before your portfolio gets too far off track. You also, I think, want to review your performance of your accounts and see if they're matching what your goal is. For all of our clients, what we do is we create an investment policy statement. And you would want to have an investment policy statement as well. In the investment policy statement, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to measure what is your comfort level of risk. An easy way to say it is either conservative, moderate, or aggressive. And in a married couple situation, it's very common. Maybe one's conservative, maybe one's more aggressive. But in looking at your total investment portfolio and how things are allocated, with technology today and tools like Riskalyze, you can actually, instead of just say moderate level of risk, you can pinpoint exactly what level of risk that you're taking, anywhere from 0 to 100. And, based upon how you answer a series of questions, if you're moderate, let's say your goal is to be a 50 out of 100 level risk. And, now because you haven't rebalanced your portfolio and the equities have done very well, and equities are a larger position, let's say that your risk score now has drifted to 65. Looking at that would tell you that maybe your risk is getting too high, even though you've had some good performance. And when you think about performance, inside of your investment policy statement, especially for those of you that are close to or in retirement time, you're usually shooting for a desired outcome goal, meaning that if you want to follow the 4% rule and live off 4% of your investment assets, maybe your target goal is a 6% rate of return, right? And if you're achieving your goal, meaning that, halfway through the year you're at 3%, you're pretty much on track for where your goal is. You don't want to get caught up too much into looking at your total investment portfolio and comparing it to the broad market index, right? So if you look at the S&P, and the S&P is up significantly, and maybe your portfolio is not up as much as the S&P, you'd have to take in consideration the S&P is a 100% equity portfolio, and if you're at retirement time, you may not be comfortable with that level of risk. On the flip end of the scale, if you're younger, take like Andrew here at the office, and Andrew is 22. Maybe he wants to have that full equity exposure. So in that case, because he may be a full equity investor, then looking at the market performance would be much more appropriate than it would for somebody who's at retirement time. So doing that's going to allow you to check for some of those hidden risks that you have. Another thing that I like about doing the investment policy statement is it looks at concentration risk. The last couple of years, we've talked about what's called the Magnificent Seven, and that's the fact that it's a small percentage of stocks, say out of the S&P 500 index, that make up a lion's share of what the performance is. And if you have that over concentration, I think that would be an area that maybe you could look to lower some of those risks. I like portfolios that tend to be more equal weight versus having that high concentration risk. you want to set up a time and schedule an end of the year review to look at your tax loss harvesting if you have non-retirement accounts and regular taxable investment accounts. But you could also look at tax loss harvesting in part of your mid-year review, get it on track for your tax loss harvesting. Next, what you want to do is you want to check in on your retirement plan. Mid-year review is a great time to kind of assess where do you stand and being able to achieve what those goals are that you've put together. So the goal could be, looking towards, paying off your mortgage. Your goal could be being able to be confident to be able to retire in 3 years, or your goal could be, I'm already retired. Am I still on track? We utilize some software and go through Right Capital and building out written retirement income plans for our clients. And then what we do is we can stress test the plan. So we can say, well, what if the market crashed in the second half of the year? How would that impact the outcome? What happens if next year health insurance costs go up? What happens in 3 years if tax rates go up by 20%? And then looking at all of these possible scenarios, it'll tell us the amount of times that the plan had enough money to make it all the way to the end. And the goal, I would say, of checking in on your retirement plan mid-year is to make sure that you have a 90+% probability of success of meeting those goals that you have. It's also a good time to kind of revisit what your insurance needs are. That can be especially important if you've had some type of life changes that have occurred. But again, going through a review of things like your life insurance, your disability insurance if you're still working, and or long-term care if you're closer to or in retirement time. Looking at life insurance, as you're younger in life, making sure that you have enough life insurance to cover your family, your mortgage, your kids, whether you're little. And then looking at life insurance and retirement time, making sure that in the event that one of the two of you passes away, are there any gaps of what the income is? And if there's a gap in income, that's where life insurance can be a valuable tool. When you're reviewing your insurances and you're looking at like your life insurance, it's also important to look at making sure that you have properly named beneficiaries. So your primary and contingent beneficiary, which leads into the third category of looking at your estate plans mid-year. So again, when you're looking at your estate plans, especially if you've had some type of life change, is a good idea to take a look at making sure that your estate plans get up to date. Looking at, again, the beneficiaries. So some things will go through your will. Other things don't go through your estate plans. So usually like your 401k, your IRA, your life insurance, your annuities, if you have named beneficiaries, those type of assets traditionally are not going to go through your will. That's why it's important to review those primary and contingent beneficiaries.
You just need to take the first step and reach out to set up a time to speak with them. 419-794-3030. We can schedule a time on the website, arhq.com.
America's Retirement Headquarters is located at 1700 Woodlands Drive in Maumee, Ohio. You can reach them by calling 419-794-3030 or online at americasretirementheadquarters.com. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Nolan Baker is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstance. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Nolan Baker, Ohio Insurance License Number 27787.